intro. It's intro time. Shush. Everyone shut up. What's going on, main characters? It's your boy Talks Too Much with Third Party Studios. Welcome back to the 99th episode of the Third Party Podcast. We got a lot to get into today, but before we do, it's my boy, the Cody.
What up?
And we have Slim, who might be joining the stream in just a little bit here. We'll be seeing there might be some technical issues or something else coming up, but we will see if he joins us. We'll have him jump right in. We got a few topics to get into, but before we do, Cody, what's up? What you doing?
Hold on. What's up with you?
What's your nerd week been looking like? What have you been doing?
Just more Cyberpunk.
You've been playing Cyberpunk a lot lately, dude.
Yeah, it's like all I've been doing.
Are you going to talk about Rematch at all? Like, what's up with Rematch?
Okay, so we played it Thursday.
Yeah. Stream. That was fun.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. So I have like 17 hours into it already.
You have 17 hours? Holy shit.
Just throw on a podcast and play that game.
Dude, yeah, we could. Yeah.
It's very easy.
The game is actually kind of addicting.
It is very addicting.
I was really feeling the pull to get back into it. The trick with me is that I really have this hesitation about whether or not it will be fun as a single player in like solo queuing into that. Obviously,
it's not bad. You can only really solo queue in 3v3, maybe 4v4.
Okay.
But like 5v5 or ranked is impossible. I spent 10 minutes in a queue for it.
So the load times still kind of suck.
Yeah, finding a queue while solo queuing is a bitch.
And I just so the other night I checked in and you were kind of like, you were getting better. You had learned some tips and tricks and stuff. Like you had learned some of the skill things we hadn't been able to figure out.
I'm the best already.
Yeah, you masterclass. You ranked yet?
Yeah. No, because you can't get into ranked games. I played one. You got to play like 5 of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun.
So I wasn't actually expecting to get to the movie we went to last night, 28 years later, but we were going to be doing a review on that later in the podcast. But I really wasn't so I really didn't expect to do that. I totally spaced it fell off my radar. After we kind of covered some of the stories about it, I really didn't know how excited I was to go see it. And then we'll talk about it, but that's part of my nerd week. I've been playing a bit or working a bit more on my Warhammer 40K stuff. And I've actually been kind of paying attention to the Clash of Clans like update on the mobile app. Like I've been doing.
Oh, I forgot that you're addicted to that.
I'm not addicted.
Addicted.
It's not an addiction if you're great at it. It's not an addiction. No. So I've been paying kind of attention. They just did some updates with like the top town halls now have like 3 new weapons, but they're temporary. So you buy them, you upgrade them, you put all this stuff into them, and then you swap them out or they reset, or you're gonna get new seasonal ones. So like every 3 months they're gonna rotate out. I'm really sick of that stuff. I'm like, just give us more permanent stuff that's actually decent, or give us a new thing to do. Because I've been in the game since like the beginning. I only took a hiatus, but now that I'm back in it and I've been playing for a while, I'm already Town Hall 16, which is 1 below the max. So I mean, it takes a long time for these upgrades to go through. But
did you hear about that one guy that was the #1 spot for 6 months because he had it on like 7 tablets running all the time? He'd shower
God.
And play the game nonstop.
That's ridiculous. No, I had not heard of that. It would never surprise me that that exists, though. You'd never be able to convince me that that's not how it should be, or how you would need to have it in order for the game to be, in order for the game to progress proper.
Yeah, after that 6 months of being #1, he just retired from the game. Doesn't play it anymore.
Well, there's a South Park episode where it's freemium gaming. It's Canada, like you have to go rebuild Canada with Terrence and Phillips, and you collect Canado. Yeah, that was one of the better episodes. That season hit really fucking hard.
Anything to do with Terrence and Phillip.
I mean, normally I'm not impressed, but dude, the Canadians.
Except for the "I'm not your buddy" guy.
Well, I
quote that all the time.
Canadian Satan, like Beelzebub. Dude, no, it's hilarious. But I am definitely going to be trying out more Rematch. I hope we get to do more of it on the channel. So I think let's just jump right into some of our first stories. We got a first one here. Robert Downey Jr. literally phones in endorsement of Ironheart in scripted Disney promo for a new series. Before we jump into the story and we read more on the article, Cody, what's your take on the I know that like Ironheart is such a diminishing like storyline,
it's
but
going to be the most popular thing. What are you talking about?
It's going to be the best there ever was at the game.
Yeah. I like how the people over at Marvel just think, oh, if we get RDJ to do something, then people will check it out.
Yeah, I mean, you got well, it didn't work for Kamala, but
Yeah.
but nothing did. So politics, man.
Politics.
No, when it comes to Ironheart, the fact that it's such a small running comic series, they have a run, but they don't have like a billion year. They don't have like 60 years of source material to pull from to make a storyline.
You got like 12 issues or something.
Yeah, it's something. It's some ridiculously small quantity of issues, and then it just failed like ridiculously hard. The comic run did so bad. I think we compared it to like Rippaverse and like some of their work that's been coming out, and how as an independent publication, the Rippaverse comics have been just doing gangbusters over them. Yeah, it's not gonna. I mean, and obviously, if you can perform as well as Rippa's been doing without, you could basically prove that the industry and the market is still there for comic collectors, which has been the comic industry's defense is we're a business and everyone who buys our product is just phasing out. Like, that's a horrible idea. That's a horrible way to run your business. Be like, we're just holding the door open while everyone leaves.
Right. Like, remember when like the MCU was still young or whatever, and they do something stupid and someone would be like, well, it's in the comics. It's like, well, it can still be stupid in the comics. Just because it's in the comics doesn't make it good.
No, I think this was one of our main arguments for, or one of our strongest arguments for when they did the female Silver Surfer.
Right. Oh, they did it in the comics. Like, yeah, and people didn't like it then either.
Yeah, it's just a trash. It's, well, Warhammer 40K, right? Like, I actually, so I watched the clip, the snippet, the video that people were citing reference to when they showed the first female custody on screen. Like, you can find the YouTube video for it.
Oh.
And I knew what it was referencing to, but I had not watched the full video on my own. And now so I watched that earlier this weekend. Dude, she is an unlikable bitch. She's just bad. I mean,
just bad.
I understand the custodies are like going to be like like they're going to just be one, like very one-dimensional, where you can't really change their mind. But yeah, oh my gosh, such an unlikable character. That's your first attempt.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so much 40K like universe out there that you can kind of pick and choose what your headcanon is.
Fair.
People do that with the Emperor. Like, there's like many theories, and some people just pick one that they really like.
I mean, but as a theory, there is canon, and then there's also theories. It's like the unexplored story or the unanswered questions aren't canonical. Like, you don't have a canon unanswered question.
With so many franchises that I like that have been just shit on or getting shit products in them, it's like I'm picking and choosing what is canon, basically. Like Star Wars, I got a whole bunch of canon.
You have like one list, and it's like, yeah.
Sequel trilogy never happened.
I wanted to ask you your take on this, because we've had this conversation a couple of times on the channel about like whether or not you can subjectively or objectively review or critique art, cinema, entertainment, whatever. And I'm of the opinion that you can. We just haven't found the metrics by which we can standardize it. I think if we just haven't discovered the answer to that question yet, I don't think it's an unanswerable question. Here's my context.
Like an objectively shit movie. Like, well, is there such a thing? Because everyone's got, it's like an opinion.
Well, that's exactly. Well, I mean, we call it an opinion, but I mean, it's
The Room
just being wrong.
The Room could be considered a objectively shit movie, but everyone loves it because it's so shit.
Well, is the moon landing an opinion or a fact because some people don't believe it happened? Like, this is stupid. Like, and you can have an opinion, but what we're really just saying is that you're just wrong. It's like, I look at like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it won 1 billion awards. It's critically acclaimed. The fandom loves it. It had issues, but we all kind of give it grace because it was such a good faith adaptation of the books. And so I just sit on the side of the fence that all these people who are like, no, it's such a trashy series of films, it's so bad. And I'm like, no, you're just wrong. It's like, you can have an opinion, but you're just wrong. Like, for all the reasons that like we review, we say like rewatch value is a good one. Is it canonically consistent? Is there anything that breaks the immersion? Like, you can say yes or no, those things happen. Like, immersion breaking, if you have a deaf person, they're not going to be able to tell you if their immersion was broken by bad dialogue. But you can say still that dialogue was poorly written. Like, if that was or was not the case, you couldn't have grades in high school.
True.
For writing classes, we can tell that things are bad grammatically or consistently because they fail to reference back to something. I don't know. I'm not changing. I don't think I'm
going off on a tangent.
I don't think I'm changing. I don't think I'm changing your mind anyway. But I'm just saying that like we had this conversation before, and I would. It's a philosophical question and an academic one. I think it would be fun to interact with that question a little bit more. But you are right. So for RDJ and for Ironheart, when it comes to the like phoning it in or bringing in like these Hollywood actors who played famous roles before. Every single time you do that, you diminish the value of the original films for the people who are going to go and like rewatch them or collect them. Your most loyal fans are the ones who are going to continue buying Iron Man, Captain America, specifically RDJ, Chris Evans. They're going to go back and buy that stuff. And this shit turns those people off.
Yeah, like for the past 10 years, if a celebrity endorses anything, it's automatically on my shit list.
It's just a bad thing. It's like you're being told to like it by someone who doesn't understand how much milk is.
Right.
Or how much eggs
technically, I don't either, but
oh yeah,
that's just because I don't grocery shop.
You don't you poor broke bitch. All right.
I thought it's only DoorDash.
Well, I mean, it's pretty so straightforward. I mean, yeah, when it comes to these famous people endorsements, you have to pretty much reject them. These people have no credibility.
Yeah, well, basically getting a famous actor to endorse your thing means that your thing sucks.
Yeah, because you needed it.
You need it.
You need audience. You need audience appeal. Like your audience has to be the ones to like it. The people who are going to be playing your game or watching your movie or buying your comic book are the ones who you need to like it. You don't need RDJ to like it. All right, let's jump into the story. We'll just go down the first part here. In what may go down as one of the most transparently scripted PR stunts in recent Marvel history, Iron Man star RDJ appeared on Good Morning America to deliver a glowing endorsement of Disney's upcoming Ironheart series, and we have that here. So let's just listen to it real quick.
Because I think we have a very special message. I think you're going to recognize who this is.
Good Morning America.
I was really like, I wasn't.
God, it's already...
Who saw this coming at all? Like
New studio. God, looks great. Miss Thorne, I couldn't be happier than to be seeing you bring Riri Williams to life. But the hood has me nervous. Is the hood green? Please.
He's afraid of the hood. He doesn't want to go to the.
No one wants to go to the hood.
He's not fond of the hood.
Please tell me Mr. Ramos is not replacing me as Dr. Doom via Parker Robbins. Is there something you're not telling me? Anyway, I don't want to step on your interview. Long story short, Iron Man loves Ironheart.
That's so crazy. Dominic, how's that make you feel? That one of the original Avengers saying that.
Loves Iron Man too.
Dude, that's
that's cringy as hell.
Dude, that is so like. Okay, obviously the morning talk shows are not my spiel. They're not my stick. I don't turn on the TV in the mornings and watch Good Morning America, but holy crap. I mean, does anybody not cringe, roll their eyes? I mean, is Good Morning America for people who are just...
Well,
like,
I think I remember...
I couldn't even find a person.
I think I remember a time where it was kind of good, but...
I remember the news being on in the mornings growing up. Like it would just, the TV would be on and we'd just like have it on while we were getting ready for the day and stuff. But it's like when I was younger, like when I was a kid. I don't think even as a teenager or as a young adult, I don't think anybody I knew ever had the TV running in the mornings. They were just, they preferred sleep. And then they just got as much of that as they could, and then they just sprinted for the door.
Throw on some clothes and leave for your shitty day.
Exactly. But I mean, this shit is so... You're right. It's so cringy that no one could possibly be interested in this. This is the kind of thing that like people nerd out for this.
Like the old people that watch Good Morning America
don't get it.
They're not gonna go watch Ironheart.
Right.
It's like when comedians, when they go to like different cities or whatever to promote their stand-up and whatnot, they go on morning talk shows, which is the dumbest thing ever, because those people aren't going to go buy tickets to the show.
No,
that are watching that.
This was this plagued me for a while, because for I think about a year and a half, I was having this problem before we started the channel, and then like as the channel was getting off, I didn't really understand how, like I didn't know when the new releases were coming out. I didn't know where to like when and where new releases were going to come out that I might or might not be interested in, because I wasn't seeing premieres anywhere, or I wasn't seeing commercials for them, because I didn't have television and I didn't pay for, and I paid so that I didn't have to have ads.
I don't have commercials.
All of a sudden, a movie that I'm like a movie that I actually have some kind of interest in just was already out in theaters and had been for like 2 weeks. I was like, what the fuck? No one told me about this.
This came out?
This is bullshit.
Like, I forgot about 28 years later, which we'll get to, until like Thursday when a podcast was reviewing it. I'm like, oh shit, that's right.
Yeah. Exactly the same. And I still don't know when Ironheart or when Superman or Fantastic Four actually are in theaters. I don't have my calendar dates marked. I just kind of...
Yeah, the only advertising I've seen from that is like during podcasts or seeing the posters at the theater yesterday.
Yeah, when you drive by the local theater, you can see something coming soon, I think. But honestly, the Good Morning America, these morning AM talk shows, I don't know who... First off, you hear all the time about the ratings crashing of all of these major networks, so it is... I mean, ABC, I'm pretty sure ABC is a Disney subsidiary.
Yes.
So, I mean, it totally costs them nothing to do an interview with their own, like, people, right? It's like, bring on, like, we already own this publication. We might as well get all of these people locked in.
Yeah, it's like Amazon owning Rotten Tomatoes, and then they still review Amazon shows. Like, do you think you're going to get an honest opinion there?
No, you can't. You know, I mean, the audience score, I think, is the best you could possibly get from it, but Rotten Tomatoes isn't trustworthy. IMDb is not good.
Yeah. I mean, they're all kind of just shit when it comes to like ratings and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because half the time you can't trust even the user ones.
Yeah, the user ones all appear to be fake, or their reviewer names are very generic. So bot accounts,
Review bombed either positively or negatively.
Right. I mean, I have suspicions about some of the Marvel projects that are coming up being review bombed positively. Let's keep going on the article. So while we all just watched that, one of the cringiest endorsements ever, and honest, the heart thing.
Oh, that's how the Gen Z or whatever does the heart thing. No, scroll back up.
Oh,
What
yeah,
she's doing.
Yeah, it's the middle finger and index finger, and you guys can see that. You guys can see that fine. That is. Dude, that's so annoying.
Different? Why different? I don't understand.
I have no idea, dude. All right, but the article continues. The problem, the internet reaction has been visibly negative for the show. The original Ironheart trailer racked up over 521,000 dislikes on YouTube to just 217,000 likes. Let's talk about that real quick. So the dislikes on the actual original trailer, you didn't have 500,000 people who even knew this character existed.
Very true.
This character was so unpopular throughout the entire run of the comic series. You never convinced me that many people even knew what they were even negatively reacting to character wise. This trailer just was shit. The trailer was just bad. Like no Marvel fan had any freaking clue.
I mean, the show's so bad and Marvel has so little faith in it that it's been sitting on the shelf for almost 3 years.
Yeah,
it's been done.
Right.
They just haven't put it out.
Just on the tail end of when the comic ended. We think.
They're contractually obligated to put this out, and that's why they're dumping it.
What do they lose if they fail? Do you have any knowledge on what they lose if they don't
break the contract?
Yeah. Do they lose like the intellectual ownership of the movie? Do they lose licensing? They own it.
If you lose the rights to the character, I don't think that would be a big blow, really.
Dude, honestly, if anything, Disney needs to clean their slate. I mean, you have all these untested IPs, but you put $300 million into the production of each of them, and all of them being untested. You also do the same formulaic scripts and messaging box checking that you do in every other one. So, I mean, no one's going to see anything new or original from it.
No.
I think the thing that I liked about Thunderbolts that Thunderbolts was actually kind of original. You still pulled a lot of... You still pulled characters from places that didn't belong, but at least they were testing some of the way these characters interacted, and they had on-screen charisma. They were actually interesting to watch, and they had like some... it
didn't feel like a cookie-cutter Marvel movie since Endgame.
Right, which we needed less of that. All right, so the second trailer hasn't fared much better, with more than 70,000 dislikes to 45,000 likes, and critical comments flooding the replies. Viewers are openly mocking the show's tone, CGI, and premise. Yeah, the Marvel can't do CGI, but modern Hollywood can't do CGI. It's one of those lost techniques.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's
how
like-
we've digressed since the fucking Transformer days, like
Yeah.
2008.
Ooh, you know what? I want to try to see, just to make the point super clear, I want to try to pull up for the audience. Let's keep talking on this, but I want to do like a CGI comparison.
Between then and now.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, you should be able to do a CGI comparison. I think there's probably memes and stuff like that that we could probably find easily enough. But when it comes to
Like Pirates of the Caribbean with Davy Jones, fucking looks excellent.
yeah,
Holds up today.
I'm trying to. It's gonna take a second for me to find something, so I will just put that on the back burner for now. If I come up with something later, I will. But yeah, back to the story. So CGI, yeah, Hollywood has just lost that information, that knowledge, which is frustrating. The best reference, if you're not trying to pull up an immediate example that everyone should probably recognize off the top of their head, would be like Transformers, like the early 2000s Transformers CGI versus, oh man, almost anything that comes out of Warner Brothers. That's CGI. Almost anything that comes out of Disney or Marvel, or better case study would be like if you compared the Transformers versus Disney Star Wars. Like if you compared those two for CGI, you could see a lot of pretty obvious.
Yeah, and they use the what the hell is it called again? That screen that's just the 360 view.
Yep.
What the hell is it called again?
The something bubble. I don't know. Something dome.
The sound? I don't remember.
I'm failing entirely to know what the name of it is, but I know what you're referencing back to. The tone of the show is we've already had sort of a Iron Man mentor mentee thing or apprentice thing with Spider-Man.
Right.
So doing it a second time with another like Iron Man knockoff is going to just be annoying. Now, Spider-Man has a billion Spider-Man knockoffs, so I mean, it's not like it can't work.
Yeah.
Like
they did a whole movie about it.
Yeah.
An animated movie.
Oh, I was gonna say on the CGI topic before we spin to other parts of it, Pixar still hits CGI really well.
Oh, apparently they just dropped their worst movie yet, though.
It's gonna perform poorly, but I don't think it'll be because visually the CGI is.
Probably not. I mean, yeah, they have been pretty consistent. I haven't watched a lot from them lately, but
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
All right, Downey's short video message, read from what was clearly a prepared statement, featured him fawning over Dominique Thorne before awkwardly tossing in a joke about Parker Robbins, aka the Hood, possibly replacing him as Dr. Doom. Yeah, honestly, dude, if Disney thought they could get away with replacing you and saving several million dollars, I don't think they would hesitate. I think your star power is literally the only reason.
Was she in the chair stream where they announced all the characters for Doomsday? I don't remember.
In fairness, nobody would.
There was only like 30 fucking heroes that they announced.
Yeah, over the course of 5 hours. So I mean, unless you're sitting there memorizing the chair, it's not.
Well,
really
you get like 10 minutes between chairs. So.
right. Well, and RDJ, I saw an interview. I don't know if it was an interview or what he was talking about, but he was saying how he just hated the way they were doing that he was acting. He didn't think he was a good actor, which in my mind blew me away. I was like, no, I actually think you kind of are. I think you're kind of a great actor. But then he goes on to make a comparison about how like you open a door and you're getting a cue on how to like respond, like visually respond to a person you're supposed to be surprised is on the other side of the door, but you already know they're there. And he was giving that comparison. I was like, yeah, acting.
Yeah.
Weird. It's like,
it's your job.
yeah, you picked a really weird career path if you don't like it. But turnabout's fair play. I mean, people get stuck in careers they don't like, and if you're gonna make $10 million every project or more every project you're on because you're star power, yeah, phone it in, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he did for Dr. Dolittle. Remember, there was a remake of that.
Do you think he actually took that on as a passion project? I'm more convinced that his attempt at Dr. Dolittle was actually him trying like to spin out of like Marvel and gets into some other stuff. It's so far away categorically from anything else he had done that I can recall.
Yeah,
So-
apparently it wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't good for show. A manufactured moment. The timing and tone of the message have sparked immediate skepticism from fans. Many saw it as a half-hearted attempt to manufacture a passing of the torch moment that never happened organically. They've done that several times. We brought this up before, where they already did a passing of the torch moment for Iron Man and Ironheart, and it just was such a inorganic nonsense moment that the character itself is just ridiculous. Absolute clown costume nonsense, bad CGI.
Yeah, she's one of those girl bosses where she's already brilliant and great at everything. Like, she was in, I never watched
Wakanda.
Wakanda Forever, which her debut or whatever was in.
More like Wakanda for never. What?
She say something about you being ashy.
Well, she casual. Yeah, so apparently she really does really good science and shit, but then there's consequences because she's so brilliant. So she has to learn how to not be so brilliant and control her brilliance.
I gotta be dumber. That's my arc.
She has to tame her brilliance, which is really like the classic masculinity archetype where you want to be strong, but you want to have control of your strength. You want to be self-discipline. You need to have self-discipline. So yeah, obviously she's a man. So that's a man, baby.
It's a man.
So after Dominique Thorne previously claimed that RDJ gave her private approval to carry on his legacy, but without any footage or public acknowledgement, that story didn't stick. Now, just days before the show's release on June 24th, here comes the big endorsement from a guy currently being paid millions to star in Avengers Doomsday. And yeah, he gets called out as convenient.
Wasn't it like 100 million?
It's something ridiculous. I don't know that was publicly disclosed. It might have.
Yeah, it was like 100 million for RDJ and then 20 million to get the Russos back.
Well, Doomsday.
So your budget's already 120 million.
That movie is going to have to go really frickin' hard. And honestly, I would expect that Doomsday. Man, well, let's make a prediction here real quick. Let's have some fun with this. So you're 100 million in on the Russo brothers and RDJ alone. It's going to be, you have other high caliber cast. Let's round down, say another 100 million for the rest of the cast combined. I think that's really unreasonably low, but
I mean, you are paying 30 plus other people.
Exactly. But I mean, like,
quote unquote big name people.
Yeah, so let's say another 100 million. So you're 200 million on just cast and the Russo brothers.
The directors, yeah.
Yep. CGI, I think you're at least 100 million in, 200 million on CGI. And you got all of these older actors who are going to be brought back, and you're going to have to do CGI for all of those old ones, or all those old ones that you're probably not even going to be able to translate a lot of that well. They're not going to do the same if they apply the same practical effects to, like, say, Mystique, right?
Right.
Because they're bringing obviously Mystique back.
Yeah, Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah. Doing her CGI like they did in the early 2000s X-Men films, that's going to look awful, dude.
Well, yeah, and they're fast tracking this movie, so the CGI guys aren't even gonna have enough time to like touch things up.
So let's say
it's gonna come out like a video game does, where it's like it comes out unfinished, and they polish it up in post, and then once it hits streaming service, then it's all done. So
now the question is production and CGI. So if we put production and CGI together, are we thinking 200 million or 300 million on just production and CGI? So I'm feeling like 200 million, but then
I'd go
200. So we're at 400 million before. We know there's going to be reshoots. Let's round another 50 million, just say 450 million. And then you got marketing, which is going to be probably 150. It's probably going to be 150, 200 million for marketing.
Yeah, I'd say the budget, it's going to be one of the most expensive movies ever made.
Oh yeah.
So I think The Flash is right now with like a $400 million budget or something.
So guys, if you're in the comments, I want to hear your guys' take on our numbers. Do you think we're way off on this? Do you, if you guys have an adjusted number that you think is more accurate for what we're talking about, please throw it in the comments. Let us know as we're going through it. But let's say 600 million, or it's going to be higher. So this movie, you're going to double that you're going to have to double that. So you have to you're probably going to have to be another $2 billion film in order to break even or get ahead. After,
could you imagine pitching that to your investors? It's like, all right, when everything's said and done, this movie has to make more money than any other movie ever.
Yes. At the same time, it's going to be in the holiday season right before or right around when we have a Oh no, I was thinking of the Avatar. I was thinking of the new Avatar movie that was coming out, but that's actually a year. But that's coming out this year.
I think they skip a year after that.
Yeah, so
until there's like 9 Avatar movies.
Right, and Doomsday doesn't come out until not this coming fall, but the following. So the fall of 26. So we got there's going to be some space. We don't know what's going to be out there around that timeline, but if any studio wanted to really kick Disney in the nuts, that would be a time to drop an amazing film. Just something epic that would blow it away. Dune 3, drop it right then. Okay, I don't know if Dune 3 will take away enough. It's got to be bigger.
Because the first two, they made money, but nothing really substantial.
Right. And Dune 2 did not have as big of a hit as the part 1. So
which is weird.
It was weird because Dune 1 hits so hard. I was expecting it to really outkick its coverage. It didn't. So weird. All right, skip over some of the Access Media stuff. Gizmodo jumped in to gush over the moment, publishing what can only be described as a fawning tribute to both the show and Downey's glorified voicemail. That was pretty cool.
It's just, he just recorded a video. They sent it to Good Morning America.
Right. The site breathlessly reported that Tony Stark just endorsed the series, calling it a big deal, and suggested that this staged moment was akin to a political endorsement from a party elder. The publication even tried to soften the clear artificiality of the moment by noting he didn't have to record anything at all. That's a really good excuse for when you're gonna just do a bad thing. It's like we could just done nothing.
Yeah, we could have done nothing.
That would have been awesome.
We should have done.
Do that.
Nothing's better than that something.
Nothing is way better than the somethings. And then the article continues showing more of the dislikes on the trailer, the 512,000 dislikes. I want to go look at the original trailer and see if that number's moved at all. Give me just a moment here. I'll pull that up. But
yeah, I don't know, because the second trailer just dropped like last week or something, and it is a completely different tone than the first one.
Right.
The first one's all fucking kind of lighthearted and stuff, and it's like, you got to be iconic, and the second one's more taking itself seriously.
Okay, so
until that one AI shows up and it's like, it's me, bish.
Right. Okay, so not a ton of movement. We'll put this up. So yeah, since the article was published, just a day or two ago, it moved up a little bit, but we're at 525,000 dislikes now to 217. So what, more than a 2-to-1 ratio on dislikes to likes. And again, if you wanted to make an argument for negative review bombing, you could hear. No, it's not a strong argument, but my point is, it goes back to my point I made earlier, where people have no fucking clue who Ironheart is as a character. And so you're either disliking the trailer because it's a bad trailer, or you're disliking Marvel because they're Marvel, or you're just...
I'm surprised there was 9.5 million people that
checked out
the trailer.
Well, I mean, Marvel Entertainment has 21 million subscribers, and almost every Marvel project, I bet, would get something close to that for an opening trailer, for like an initial trailer launch. Especially when you start marketing this stuff as required reading for Doomsday.
Yeah.
Which is probably the only thing people are kind of hoping to have some optimism or excitement around. Fantastic Four has fizzled almost all of its good faith away with the last few months.
Yeah.
So we'll have, Fantastic Four is going to be rough, dudes.
July is going to be an interesting month for superhero movies.
Worse still, the public isn't responding the way Disney hoped. The original Ironheart trailer has racked up 500,000 dislikes. Yep, we talked about that already. And while Gizmodo continues to push the idea Ironheart is a spiritual successor to Tony Stark, that will carry on his legacy, the actual MCU fanbase doesn't seem eager to accept that premise. I don't think they're hesitant to accept it, or even not eager. I think they reject it just outright. I think they just straight out refuse to believe that these two people who have never met, it's like you're literally just a fangirl and you're like really smart.
Yeah, it's another like passing of the torch thing or whatever. That just doesn't work.
Well, and if you were going to do a legacy hand down or hand me down or a passing of the torch, Spider-Man was the character they best set up narratively to do that with.
Yeah, there was that other kid too from Iron Man 3. That was kind of also being set up as Iron Man successor.
He would have been pretty cool to see it. Yeah.
And then he shows up for the funeral scene and that's it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and you know who, his daughter didn't even cry. His daughter, Iron Man's daughter, didn't cry,
We're
guys.
just gonna go get burgers.
Yes, Yeah, we're gonna go get 3,000 burgers. Your dad liked burgers. Did you know Hitler liked burgers? Did you?
They're the same.
No, man. Did you know Hitler drank water? All right. Riri will.
I just spit out my water. Shit, really?
No, I've been drinking water my whole life. Riri Williams, a relatively new character in the comics, lacks the depth, history, charisma that made Stark an icon. The idea that viewers are supposed to see her as his heir apparent, especially when backed by an obviously pre-scripted message, feels like another tone-deaf move in a franchise that increasingly out of touch with its audience. Yeah, people are not a fan of this. You got all this, what was the coverage on?
All these shills.
These are purported bots accounts. This comes just a day after what appears to be a promotional bot campaigns hyping the series were uncovered on X. So yeah, you have all these promotions for it. And now, Elon, I thought we were getting rid of the bots. How are they like you what was the deal? What did he do? He basically made verified accounts like they cost money. Like you have to subscribe to X in order to be verified.
Right.
I'm noticing that none of these are verified.
True.
So
true.
none of these accounts are verified. So if they're not a verified account on X, guys, they're
with these bots, like so I came across this YouTube channel that was botted to the max, dude.
I believe it.
It's like freaking they basically do like comedy compilations or whatever. So you'll have like it's got like 10 million subscribers. You get a video that has like 9 million views, and then they drop a video like last week and it has 4.5 thousand views. It's like, oh, okay, this is a very obviously botted. You just forgot to pay for the bots that week.
I want you guys all to know that on X, if they're not a verified account, be suspicious. Also, just pointing out for the obvious that we are not verified, but that's because we're poor. So if you guys want to help us out by checking out some merch in the video description, that would help us out greatly. Plus, it's pretty awesome, comfortable stuff. I'm wearing one right now. But now that we've shilled that out of the way, let's keep going. All right. I think to wrap up things here, at a time when Marvel desperately needs authentic momentum, Ironheart is being propped up as artificial enthusiasm, apparent social media bot boosts, and now a forced celebrity blessing. If this is what counts as passing the torch in the modern MCU, then it's no wonder why the flame is dying out. I think, okay, that leaves into another question. Is the MCU dying out? I mean,
no one's watching anything.
I agree that, yeah. Okay, I thought that was going to be a more profound question than it was, but
it's not profound at all.
It's not. It's very unprofound.
It's dying out. Their movies aren't making any money. They're all been flops since like Doctor Strange 2.
Well, think about our social circle. Like we have people in our social circle or people we know who are normies who are never going to let Marvel die. They are going to give Marvel money for everything they put out forever. I mean, even you have a Disney Plus account.
True. Very true.
So, I mean...
They came as a package, guys, okay?
Yeah. You gotta keep them separated. It's like, what was the internet is... the streaming has become cable television where you can't pick and choose what you want anymore. Now it's all bundled together. Ugh. Independent creators, come forward.
The entertainment industry went away from cable to do their streaming, and now they're reverting their streaming back to cable.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, we're going to wrap that story up there. Robert Downey Jr. literally phones in endorsement of Ironheart in scripted Disney promo for new series. An article brought to us from That Park Place and the author Marvin Montanaro. Great work. Thank you for the original references and the video inclusion of the video. Much appreciated. And guys, if you want to read the whole article for yourself, we've included a link to that in the description of this video. So go check it out and make sure to check out other articles on That Park Place. Let's jump into our next story. We are going to be talking about something else here in a second. Just got to get back into it.
You got locked out.
Yeah, this is on me. Do you want to pretend and fill the void with your interesting
how
opinions?
about that weather, guys?
No, it's not that. The weather was crazy last night. It was storming and shit. It was bad. It was really not good.
What the hell? You got to set up a whole nother account or something?
No, I was already set up. I just got to.
God, you're a horrible producer.
I'm not great. I just had to get to here. Like the thing is I am subscribed to this account. It's just not like I'm subscribed to this forum, but I'm just not like trying to set it. I'm just not trying to get all the way in right now. So all right. So that was horrible start. Let's keep it going. Let me just do this real quick. I'm trying to help out the video. Real good. All right. That's bad. Failing everywhere. All right, guys.
Technical issues.
All right. The article, original Blade writer baffled that Marvel can't crack film given it is a relatively simple story. Before we jump into the article and dig a little deeper, Cody, what's your take on the topic? What do you think about, like...
Well, the fact that they can't crack Blade is hilarious in itself, but they've tried with 4 or 5 different scripts that were just complete, like, that were just rejected completely by what's the actor's name?
So it's Marshall Ali. Yeah. And I like him. I think he's not a terrible actor. Some of his work is just cringy, but
yeah, he's a good actor that has some shitty projects in his filmography.
But it's not like he can't. It's not like he can't act or can't do a good job. And actually, he does look the part. He looks pretty good as Blade.
Yeah, he's black.
Well, that's not all you need. I mean, anyone can be Blade now,
okay,
Cody.
Okay.
Gingers could be Blade.
No,
that would be
replaced.
Dude, he steals your soul. Dude, that'd be a great vamp.
Ghost Rider then.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, we already had a white guy as Ghost Rider, though. We need a black guy as Ghost Rider.
Well, we got a Mexican one.
Do we?
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal is doing Ghost Rider?
No, I meant as like there's an actual Mexican character.
Oh,
Ghost Rider.
Okay. Then you got the 10,000 BC one that's riding a mammoth on fire. That was kind of an interesting comic art reference to cite back to that no one's going to get. But so Blade, yeah, they had the 5 scripts. They've had multiple years of production failures. They've had different writers come in. They've swapped out directors. The only consistent in this entire thing has been Marshall Ali.
Yeah, but now he's out because they can't figure it out.
He's still in it.
Is he?
So the idea for him to leave is, I mean, what has he had to do? It's not like he has a place to show up for 9 to 5 until the project dies, right?
Yeah, but I think he just gave up on Marvel and's like, fuck this, I'm gonna go do something.
Well, and he can. He's got years before this will ever be a thing. But yeah, the movie itself shouldn't be hard. Blade is a relatively straightforward character. I mean,
you got a dude killing vampires.
Yeah, you should be able to do something with that.
Should be able to.
I mean, even Hugh Jackman got an amazing role killing vampires. And I would say that movie narratively was very starved.
The hell movie is that?
Van Helsing.
Oh, shit.
The early Van Helsing. It's got Ian McGregor in it.
No.
Yeah, he's the monk.
No, that's David something. He plays Faramir.
Oh, maybe
I'm 100% right on this.
I mean, you would know better. You would know better than I would, but I was pretty sure I had that right. But
no.
All right, I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. All right, let's keep going. I mean, it's not a deep story. It's not deep, man. Blade shouldn't be hard. But what? I mean, you don't want to hear what we have to say on it. Let's hear what these guys, what the original writer of the Blade movie from 1998 said. So we got David Goyer. I might have to zoom in for you guys a little.
Oh, I didn't realize he wrote it.
Let me just make that a little easier for you guys to follow along with at home. So David Goyer, the writer from for the first Blade film back in 1998, shared that he doesn't know why Marvel can't crack film, given that it is a relatively simple story. Speaking to Josh Horowitz, very, very Jewish name. I'm sorry. Well,
if you had to guess,
if I had,
gun to your head,
you pull a name out of a hat, right? It's like speaking to Josh Horowitz as part of the 20th anniversary special for Batman Begins. Horowitz brought up Blade at the end of the conversation, saying, "We were talking about Blade a couple years back, but this is like the most plagued production. I don't know why they can't crack this." So, couple things there. Batman Begins. I totally spaced that it was the 20-year anniversary of that movie. Because Batman Begins, you're talking the Christopher Nolan trilogy. You're talking, this is what started the guy who played Joffrey in Game of Thrones career.
Yep, he was in it.
Yep. So if you know Joffrey from Game of Thrones, the unlikable king, child king, Christian Bale was just kicking ass in that trilogy, just being awesome.
And it's been 20 years.
And they did villains right in that trilogy too. I mean, whether you had Scarecrow, Bane, or the Joker, best villain set of any.
Some people don't like Tom Hardy's Bane. I didn't like the voice at first, but
It grew on me.
Yeah, it grew. It became its own meme, basically.
Yeah.
So, but 20 years later, fucking Heath Ledger was, I think, 28.
That sounds really young.
Older than the Joker.
Does that sound right? But yeah, and then you have Blade from 1990. You have Blade from 1998, so that's been 27 years. So almost 30 years since the original Blade movie. That I don't know. A lot of our audience wasn't even born before that movie came out. So I mean, you got a lot of people who are going to be watching. Like, you got to go back and watch the original Blade and compare it to almost any modern Marvel project or film. Plus, you had him show up in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Daredevil and Wolverine.
That would be
interesting.
That'd be horrible, actually. Dude, the power dynamic between those two is so far apart. It's not even close. Daredevil would just hear his own screams as he gets like just ripped apart.
What's funny is the CGI back in '98 is still better than the stuff they're doing.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's
except for like in the first movie, you got like that
bad video game. You have bad video game CGI in the early late '90s. It was still developing. We could forgive it.
We're still figuring it out.
It was before its time. It was really revolutionary for when it was coming out. But then you had like The Matrix had the same CGI problem, where it's kind of like a video gamey.
The second one, yeah.
Yeah. So you have a lot to reference there. And so we're not going to read quote for quote. We actually have the interview here. We'll just pull it up and react to it real quick. So
what do you make? I mean, we were talking about Blade a couple years back. This is like the most plagued. Like, this is so. I don't know why they can't crack this. This is insane.
I don't either, because in my mind, I think Blade is a relatively simple story.
Like, I mean,
is it?
It kind of is.
It's so deep.
Well, okay, if I'm understanding correctly, because Blade has a lot of different. He's been involved in a lot of different projects, or as far like the character's been crossed.
Yeah, he's been around.
Yeah, but if I reference back to the first movie, which is the best reference I have for like his origin stories and stuff, it's really is very simple. You know, in the first movie, he's basically, his mom's bitten by a vampire and then he's born, and so he's like a hybrid vampire, super daywalker. So if you're going to have that's your origin story, it's pretty straightforward and simple. I was born this way.
Yeah, and then he goes and stops a vampire threat.
I think maybe the struggle here, and maybe you agree with me on this, I think the struggle for why this project is taking so absolutely ridiculously long to come out is because they cannot figure out how to make Blade gay. He's just too epic. He's just too powerful and epic.
Well, they were trying to make him into a woman.
That's a woman.
Woman.
Yeah, they wanted to give Blade they wanted to make a woman like.
It was going to be like a woman-led movie with like 4 different chicks, and then he would just be like a side character.
He's like Charlie's Angels, but with vampires, and then Blade is Charlie. Or is Wesley...
you could probably pitch that.
Dude,
it's like Charlie's Angels with vampires.
Honestly, dude, that's kind of epic. If they don't do what they did in like the late... the 2010s.
The last Charlie's Angels?
Yeah. Big girl boss.
It's not complicated. And I always think about, when you embark on a movie like this, you have to distill down what is the promise of the movie, right? So the promise of Blade, a new Blade, is that it should have insane ass kicking. It should be pretty scary, might be R-rated, and it doesn't have to be. It should not be complicated. It should be a simple story. So I don't know.
I mean, the recipe for a successful Blade movie is basically flour, egg, and oil. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you just put a few things in the pot and mix it up like a stew.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gore.
How would you? Now it's almost more fun thinking about how they're fucking it up. It's almost more fun to think about what they're doing that's making this whole thing a failure.
I'm surprised that so you have Marshall Ali that says no to a bunch of scripts. So I'm surprised that they just didn't be like, no, we're making this movie.
Well, I mean, actors have seemingly no power in Hollywood. I mean, we had the conversation with like Quentin Tarantino specifically, who's like, no, you're just gonna do what I put on the. You
say my dialogue. Yeah, you don't improvise.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like Hollywood is afraid of just shutting out the actors' opinions entirely and saying do what the writers tell you to do. I mean, and Blade is a franchise that would be one of the least offensive for them to have just completely butchered in a reboot. I mean, if you think about all the franchises that Disney or major corporations have just not like ruined in reboots, Blade would be arguably one of the least offensive, considering the way it ended with Blade Trinity, considering the fact it's kind of a C-list character, and you had a successful run, or you had a really, it's kind of more of a cult classic.
Well,
film series.
people expect we're at a time now where people just expect that it's going to be shit.
Yeah, so.
No one's gonna be surprised and be like, "Oh, I can't believe they destroyed Blade." And it's like, well, yeah, of course they did.
But should we have like a reserved optimism for the fact they're being so critical or self-critical of their scripts?
No.
Oh, all right.
You don't earn my goodwill anymore.
Yeah.
Why? It's been so hard. I have no idea why. I'm baffled. I've sat on the sidelines, and Mahershala Ali's an amazing actor. I don't know why.
I mean, kudos to him for sticking through all these different iterations. He's obviously devoted to this character. He wants to make it work. But I almost wonder if like Wesley stopped showing up and being such a crowd pleaser, and Deadpool Wolverine almost complicated it. They're like, wait a second, they still love Wesley. What do we?
I don't know how that would complicate it, because they don't care what the fandom says. They usually reject it, like outright. I mean, I think Gambit coming in is sort of like the most. I think that's probably one of the most concessions they've ever made, and I think that, like,
well, I mean, they really go off of reaction and stuff. Like, the only thing they learned from Spider-Man No Way Home is just cameos work.
Fair. Well, and then Daredevil, or wow, Deadpool and Wolverine. I really want to say Daredevil a lot.
I guess you do.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
But yeah, that's the only thing that they know how to do is just cameo, or put a chicken and make it lame and gay.
Oh man, that's their bread and butter.
That's bread and butter, man.
That's all they know. That's all they know. But Deadpool. Okay, so Wesley Snipes showing up in Deadpool and Wolverine. Do you think that, to his point, that actually threw them off? Do you think that weighed in at all? I don't buy that. I think Wesley Snipes showing up in Deadpool and Wolverine was epic. I loved it. I didn't see it coming. And so when it happened, and then the explanation after, like the post-movie interviews where you had Wesley Snipes being like, I got the call from Ryan Reynolds, and they have like this kind of like friendship where they just like say shit to each other. They just shit on each other. And I loved their chemistry going back to when he was Hannibal Caine in Blade Trinity.
Right.
So, I mean...
Yeah, I keep forgetting that. They've known each other for like 20 some odd years.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, my point was that reacting to his point about Wesley Snipes coming in and throwing a curveball, you said that they react to what the audience says. I don't know that I'm on board with that. Wesley Snipes can't possibly have been a factor in confusing them.
They don't react to what the audience says. Like, all right, this did gangbusters in the box office. So they take away like really dumb things from why it was.
Oh, they take away the wrong message.
Yeah.
Yep, they learned the wrong lesson. Yeah, so cameo abound.
Mm-hmm.
So Blade, maybe they just can't get anyone to cameo in it?
Well, he said there's only ever going to be one Blade. And what Blade says is
true.
Yeah.
He's like God of the universe. You had Marvel Jesus, and then you have Marvel God with Blade.
Wesley Snipes said it, so we can't do another Blade.
Okay, let me ask you this. How would you receive you could choose the director, you could choose the writer, you could choose the studio, and you don't have to pick now. But if you had the options for those three things, and even the executive producer, however you wanted to choose it, but you had the total control of those four roles, and you could have a Wesley Snipes production come back, would you want it? You have complete control over who you put in charge of the project, and money's a non-factor.
You can make an old man Blade. That'd be cool.
He was pretty cool in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
Daredevil and Wolverine.
Daredevil and Wolverine.
I don't know. I wonder if there is a reaction.
Or you could do both, because they're so into the multiverse stuff. You could just have an old man Wesley Snipes and
a young man Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Mahershala Ali. You just have both Blades. Well, fuck, while we're doing that, why don't we just bring back Dracula too?
Right.
And we'll bring back Ryan Reynolds as Hannibal King again. It's like
he just plays. Yeah, he's just another person in the MCU.
Yeah, but you find him one day like at home. You knock on his door and he's in a Deadpool, like half a Deadpool costume. But he's Hannibal Cane's the character.
Asphyxiation.
No, he's the character Hannibal Caine, but he's just wearing a Deadpool costume like it's Halloween or something. It'd be a funny. It'd be
cameo.
Yeah.
thought that was cool too. But it's confusing. Also, if you're trying to do another one, it may have been just an acknowledgement that we can't crack it right now. I have no idea. I haven't been involved in the conversations.
All good. All right. Well, you mentioned.
All right. It goes on because there was more into the interview. It was a long interview. It was a 45-minute interview. But so the Blade film had been in development hell since it was announced back at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019. In 2021, it was announced that Watchmen writer Stacey Kofer was working on the script. Then in 2022, it was reported that by Scooper Jeff Snyder that things were not peachy with the film. I'm told that the current Blade script is roughly 90 pages and it features exactly 2 action sequences.
Well, the first mistake was hiring Stacey whatever to write it, because she did that Watchmen TV series on
Yeah,
HBO.
that got no love. That project got no love whatsoever. I think that YouTube algorithm was trying to feed it for a minute, but it got no traction.
Yeah, it's weird that these people that just wrote trash keep on getting, they're failing upwards.
It's nice to be able to recognize their names a bit more, though. So we let audience has to learn a lesson here a bit too. Like you can't, like at some point you have to stop like eating the sludge. You have to stop eating the sludge, and you have to demand gourmet food once in a while.
You gotta vote with your wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Marshall Law said to be frustrated with the process. Feige said to be spread too thin. But hey, that's just what sources are telling me. Don't shoot the messenger, he added. Yeah, Snyder, we actually covered this. This was brought up when we were talking about the Blade projects, like debacles a few months, or I think a year ago. It was one of the articles we covered earlier.
It has been ongoing.
Yeah. So the whole thing is just stuck in turmoil. I don't know that it'll ever recover. But
no, I think they should just kill the project.
Do you think so? I mean, you don't think they're too invested time-wise? I mean, Disney money just seems to come from nowhere. So I mean, is this even hurting them? I mean, the negative publicity doesn't even
money.
Infinite money. If you have infinite money.
It all comes from the from merchandising and the amusement parks, because their entertainment studios don't make any money.
Doesn't come from USAID?
Well, maybe.
They got that government money. Go get that government money. All right. On that same day, Snyder Scoop, a Marvel spokesman told The Hollywood Reporter that director Bassam Tariq was departing the project. The spokesman shared, "Due to continued shifts in our production schedule." Sorry, I had to laugh at that because you don't have one. Bassam is no longer moving forward as director of Blade, but will remain an executive producer on the film. So yeah, it goes on to kind of break down all of the individual moments in the timeline here, year by year, all the debacles that have come
the 6
to and fro
since it's been announced.
Right. We had, thinking back to this one, as then reported by The Direct that Moon Knight writer and X-Men showrunner Bo DeMeo was working on the script. And then the whole thing, Bo DeMeo's whole debacle comes forward where he has his fallout with, it's not Feige. Who's the other? Is it, maybe it was Feige.
I don't remember.
But Bo DeMeo basically said that a Marvel executive, Feige's on my mind, I don't know why, but was being a racist and a bad person behind the scenes.
They're racist.
And then there's the whole lawsuit and stuff.
This world, everything's racist now, so.
The article continues, but however, so these claims were refuted by Michael Starbury, who also worked on the script. He wrote on X, "I worked on a draft of this before the strike. Never saw a version where Blade was the fourth lead, or it was a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. But I suppose a lot could have happened since I had anything to do with it." Yeah, a lot could happen, or literally nothing could happen. It could be either. We don't know. But yeah, film. We got more film updates here. He added he was in 99% of the scripts I was part of. So the Marshall Ali, a lot of the female-led narrative. I guess they weren't rumors. I thought they were confirmed back when that was all coming out. None of those reported like rumors. So when we were covering the story originally.
Yeah, I mean, but you can take the rumors. But of course they would do something like that. So.
Right. All right. So the article continues. I don't know that there's too much more to say. I mean,
No, closing statements on this one. It's just Disney can't figure out Blade, and it's one of the easier things to figure out.
It really should have been, shouldn't it? Like,
So we can't really put it past, like, they're just dumb.
you could have done Blade and Wolverine, and I would have been all over that movie. That would have been cool.
Cute.
That would have been so cool. No, Blade should. Yeah, Blade is a character that should not be creating problems. I mean, you could even bring him back in a cameo, and that could be like less than a month's worth of production and writing and everything.
I'm surprised he's not in Doomsday yet.
Oh man, yeah, that's right. He's not confirmed for Doomsday. All right, so an article original Blade writer baffled that Marvel can't crack film given it is a relatively simple story. An article written by John F. Trent covering the interview, and we have that article coming to us from the Fandom Pulse. Again, links are in the description, guys. Go check out and read the whole article for yourself. Cover the parts we didn't go over, but and give some support to the original writers. So we are going to move into our last topic of the day. It is, you know what it is. Do they know what it is?
Oh, we've mentioned it.
All right. We're going to be talking about 28 years later, and I got to fix that. That's horrible. Bing. All right, so we're going to be talking about 28 years later. We just went and saw the movie yesterday, and oofta.
What did you think of it?
Dude, okay. Let me start from the top. Let me start with the acting and the cast that we got here. I thought that the best performance definitely came from the father in this film. The actor, the character Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, epic performance. I thought this guy did awesome. I thought his role.
I think all the actors did good.
Did their parts, right?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the acting in this movie.
I would say that the setting I thought was pretty good. I thought the cinematography was good. The story I thought there was something there, but I think they just bombed it. I think they did horrible with it. I thought they could have done so much better. This movie had a lot of locked up potential behind a bunch of really stupid decisions. So I put that on Danny Boyle. He's the director. It starts and ends with him. And I think that there's a couple, like one or two moments in the script that I didn't really like. And I thought that there was a lot narrative decisions that were just awful. Just really bad. Visually, they played poorly.
It was written by Alex Garland, and it kind of feels that way too. Like, it felt like Civil War.
It did. It really did. And then you had him referencing, like we covered this before. He referenced back to when I'm going over back to X, where we had his take on it a few months ago, where we were covering it in advance. Where, holy smokes, this is further away than I thought. There we go. Okay, so this is written on X from Culture Crave back on March 13th. So Alex Garland says 28 years later is influenced by The Last of Us. He also believes the writing in the games is far better than his 28 days later. So he was doing this kind of weird comparison between what was ultimately a cult classic and just turned out to be an epic and awesome movie, and turned into a bigger franchise, and a video game series that is so trash.
Well, the first game's excellent.
The first game is excellent, but I mean, you can't go with just that. Like,
well, and he's comparing like 28 Days Later and The Last of Us are two completely, just because they're zombie things doesn't mean they're comparable. They're totally different stories. So.
I see the influence of The Last of Us in this movie, though, where you had the zombies behaving pretty. I don't know, the way they had like the alpha, and the way they had the alpha in the series, you had a lot of references back to the old one, but you don't even have a really good explanation of the continuity between 28 weeks later and 28 years later. So
this one kind of gets rid of 28 weeks later.
Well, the original narrative is that when the virus was spreading in France, they nuked France and wiped it off the board and contained it back to Britain. So
I thought they just fought it back. They didn't nuke anything.
No, they did nuke Paris, France, annihilated.
Well, they mentioned that the French are out patrolling.
Well, I mean, you could have French people anywhere. You could have French people, and it was in Paris.
It's just a French dude.
There's more country than just Paris for France.
I don't remember this bit at all.
So no, well, it was a statement by, I think, the writer of 28 Weeks Later came out and said that. So it was basically just a continuity comment, basically meant to fill the gap between the two storylines. It wasn't like a whole article or a whole story that kind of came out on its own.
Well, anyway, I mean, movie looks good acting. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about
I hated the story. I was kind of mad watching it. It was just like, this is just not working for me at all. And have people defending it and it's like, yeah, it's a coming of age story. And of course, this 12-year-old boy would make some stupid decisions like that. I'm like, not really.
No, no.
Like your first time out onto the mainland was a shit show. And then the next day you're like, oh, let's bring my retarded mother with.
Yeah, so we got to break down some of the premise for anybody who's actually listening to the review. So the story goes, and you follow the young boy, and the young kid's name is Spike. Honestly, horrible name. I hope that's like
Spike.
That's probably going to be consistent with like now they're going to start naming people because they have a simpler culture.
Right.
Okay, so the story follows a group of survivors who are in Scotland, and they are segregated to this really small island that has a causeway to the mainland. And there's high tide that basically washes away the causeway, making it impossible for the zombies to come at them. And they find a way to basically become self-sufficient. They're sustainable on the island, and they have like a mini, like almost Amish-like culture, but everyone has a job, everyone has the roles simplified down. They still have like schools, and
You got a coming of age ritual.
yes, they have a coming of age ritual that's pretty significant in their culture. And then
Yeah. It's never explained though why the kid is doing it 2 years early.
no, he's just really
It's
good.
at like 14, 15 they do this.
Yeah, he's just a really good shot with a bow and arrow. So the coming of age ritual is basically them going out on their first excursion onto the mainland. And it sounds like some of the main criteria we took away from that was like your objectives are to explore and get your first or second kill, and then you're basically meant to just come back if you can. So
Right.
it's really just go out, get a couple kills, come back. And okay, so they go out, they explore, they get stuck out there for a night, they come back, and
The first act is decent.
yeah,
It's the best part of the movie.
it is, except for I have a huge problem with the score. Now, here's my preach to the audience is that imagine you're in a road trip, or you're on a road trip, you're in a car, and you're just sitting in the back seat, and you have your like 3-year-old, like you have a 3-year-old, and the mom hands an iPad that's like plugged into the Bluetooth, hands it back to the kid, and all of a sudden the kid's just banging on every button on the iPad just to see what he can do with that. That's what the score was. The score was awful.
You could say that about the editing too.
The sound design,
Like a kid was just pressing buttons.
yeah, the sound design was awful. No, I mean, if you want to make the case that it's
I wouldn't say the sound design is awful, just the music part.
the music, the chiming, the screaming, the ringing, like the sound design's all over the place, volume wise. So I mean, you're not going to not hear it. It's going to be the only thing you're paying attention to at a few moments in the first act for sure, and even throughout. I found it perpetually annoying the entire time. So if you can't handle that kind of stuff, not the movie for you. Don't try to
If
put
you're
yourself through it.
epileptic, you probably don't want to go to it either.
True.
Because like they do this thing with the editing where like the zombies, it's a rage virus.
Yes.
And so it's very frantic whenever the zombies come around.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they've done this for the first two. It just seems jacked up to 11 on this, in this one though. It was so jarring.
Well, and they did a lot of stuff with magic and shit. So they had several moments in the movie where you have the big bad zombies that are coming at you, and you get the impression from how they're portraying it on screen that they can control fucking birds now.
Yeah, I had to remind you, the alphas have magic powers. pretty
Yeah,
much.
the alphas basically can pull humans apart with easily one-handed, actually.
Yeah, didn't they
Literally
Didn't
one-handed.
they explain the alphas are just like these gym bros that were on steroids?
Super roided up, yes. So the explanation for why the alphas exist, and the alphas are a colossal humanoid or human zombie. Like they're just a giant. They're basically 7 or 8 feet tall. They're just huge.
They're huge.
And-
they're strong. They're smarter than the regular zombie.
Yes, they also are incredibly patient for some fucking reason. But the explanation for why they exist versus the traditional zombies we all know from 28 Days and Weeks Later is that the rage virus is basically steroids, and it makes them ripped and just absolutely ridiculously strong, powerful, fast. They're tanks, so they basically can't be taken down. Even with multiple quote-unquote kill shots, they survive and just keep going.
Well, yeah, I mean, they can be okay, so the alphas at the like act 3 is stopped twice, and they don't take that chance to kill him.
Yes. They just,
which was so frustrating. I was in the theater, and I raised my hands up like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of dumb decisions in this movie.
Yeah, whether it's the young kid who's deciding to go out on his own so he goes out, just to get back into how we're breaking down the story real quick. So he goes out and he's going to be going on a mission with his dad. He's escorted around. It goes bad. It goes wrong. Like, they don't make it back to the Crossway in time. He has his first 2 successful kills, and then all of a sudden they get bombarded or attacked by and swarmed and trapped by an alpha and his pack of zombies that he basically has mental control over for no reason other than he just has sheer giant dick charisma.
Yeah, he just yells and shit happens.
Yes, exactly. Also, the birds love him and love anything he wants to die. So the birds just fly at you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to explain the entire story, but like, shit goes bad. They get back. His dad does something that pisses the kid off, and then the kid takes his mom to see this doctor that's out in the mainland.
Oh, and his mom
That's
is
the entire
sick.
story.
Yeah, his mom is sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's clearly having confusion and doesn't really know what's happening. She's having episodes or whatnot. So you bring that person with you to the mainland that you already had a shit time with.
Okay, so
And then everything kind of goes peachy for a while for them.
right, and now and then
picnics.
from there you have an unexplored 25-year or 28-year later like uninhabited Scotland that basically just is infested with giant zombies. Also, there appear to be so many more of them. Now, the one issue I had was in 28 weeks later, you kind of get the impression that the zombies starved themselves out. Like, there was basically, they all starved, and that's why they went back, was because they all just kind of withered away after like a month.
Right. That's why I'm not taking in 28 weeks later as canon, really. They take bits and pieces from it, but
yes. So what I would summarize that to mean is that this is not a canonical film. It's going to be doing its own thing with the 28-day universe. And you would almost be better off ascribing this its own separate universe that took the name. So they're not consistent with each other at all. You had, like I said earlier, the explanation about what happened in Paris and why the rest of the world isn't infested.
in Paris.
But
Yeah, the rest of the world goes on. This is another dumb thing in this universe. Is the rest of the world is going on fine. They're doing, it's basically like our world.
yeah,
Except for in Britain. And they just let it be. Granted, it's quarantine. If you step foot on the island, you're not getting off.
right.
But it's like, why would you just leave that ticking time bomb
Yeah,
sit there?
You can't just leave it on. I mean, it's going to escape somehow. That's
Right.
that's the lesson
dude
you should
can
have
control
learned.
birds.
Yeah, birds fly.
Birds fly.
Yeah.
They migrate.
Yeah, they do. But birds fly.
What are they just shooting down birds that are?
Well, I mean, what you would. Here's my opinion in a zombie apocalypse is you kill the zombies. You don't let them just exist. You have to put out you have to kill off in large numbers.
I guess this is the real world. We would have nuked the island.
If you nuke Paris, you're nuking the UK for sure. You're not letting that shit just exist there.
Yeah, it's all very, very stupid.
Yeah.
The movie's just bad. It's shot well, good acting. That's the only good thing I can say about it. And the way they ended it is fucking insane to me.
Yeah, so we actually had several posts on X that I bookmarked here that I wanted to react to. This is going to be the end scene, no context. So
Yeah.
This post by Blank on just the other day, this is basically the best thing we're going to like handhold you through as far as like what the end scene is. Take it for what you see on screen. This GIF of the Power Rangers showing up. That's what you get.
That is pretty much what you get. What I don't get is they went with a very British reference that very few people outside of Britain will know. And it's like a Jimmy Savile cult, which if you don't know what Jimmy Savile is, he's like a radio personality, very famous up until his death. After his death, he got hundreds of sexual assault allegations, like child abuse and all sorts of crap. So I don't understand why they went with that cult.
Well,
reference.
Jimmy's a name you see pop up on screen many times throughout, and so I think it's throughout the movie. The prologue of the film is basically Basically, you see Jimmy at the prologue, and then you see his name referenced a bunch of times throughout.
Yeah, I forget about the prologue a lot.
It was a useless prologue because it sets you up for absolutely nothing in the film.
Yeah, was that supposed to be? No, okay, so it's 28 years. Is that supposed to be like the mom's dad?
No, they're
or just some random.
The prologue is completely unrelated to the colony that you see in the entirety of the movie. It is only a direct reference to the epilogue. So the prologue and the epilogue are the only, they correlate to each other. You see the name Jimmy like painted on walls or carved into corpses or whatever, but otherwise is completely detached from the entirety of this movie. And we know this is set up to be its own trilogy, so we know that this is going to be longer running narrative.
I'm not going to watch the other two.
I don't recommend it. I mean, it's a hard fail. I think that is a horribly done. I think it's kind of the worst parts of Walking Dead, where as the show goes on, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
That's true. Well, like, yeah, the next movie is going to be, I don't know who it's written by, but it's directed by Nia DaCosta. You know what she did? The Marvels.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why you'd even give her the job of directing it, going from The Marvels to 28 years later too.
Yeah, we got another post here. We got a few posts on X I set aside, and then we'll go over to Rotten Tomatoes and look at the reviews, but just wanted to react to a few of these posts. So Ricky Valero on X is 28 years later is bad, very bad. The script feels like it's a spoof film, and it takes away everything that the original built and throws it away. So many pieces of the puzzle make zero sense, and a third act that makes you want to walk out highly disappointed.
I actually did feel like I was like, we should just walk out, but I wasn't sure how much you were enjoying the movie.
I had this sort of weird nostalgic desire to like it. Like I was like, my subconscious was pulling me towards the film while everything I was looking at on screen was just pissing me off or looking stupid. So
yeah,
the decision making stuff is never that impactful to me because I don't like what's in a character's mind is almost never of consequence. Like when it comes to the plot, like you have a plot here where this kid wants to save his mom's life. For the story to progress, he has to go leave and go find a doctor. Now it's just how. And so we didn't get enough setup for this, I think is probably the best example of it, or we just got pushed out through certain decisions by the dad a little bit too aggressively. So I think it was just bad story structure for how to get the kid out of the village, but he's going to leave no matter what. Otherwise the story doesn't out. No, it was bad. That was bad too.
It's like you got this little village basically that's barely surviving. And what does he do to get out? He sets one of the buildings on fire and is like, hey, no, everyone's got to go take care of this. And they just walk out the front door.
Yeah. It's
like, oh, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't like any of the characters in this movie.
Fair enough. But I agree with him that the third act falls apart. I didn't like the way the doctor. So the kid is on a mission to go find the doctor to save his mom from being sick. And the doctor's character is someone who has been in isolation almost this entire time. It's been like 15 years since he has interacted with another person who's been alive. Yet he somehow found a way to survive on his own in the wild.
And not lose his mind.
He has not lost his mind. Yeah. Like he's been in isolation
Everyone
alone.
Thinks he's crazy, but once you get to him, he's actually sane. And
yeah, everything he says makes perfect sense. He's like he's perfectly logical and consistent, and
except for when it comes to the alpha.
Yeah,
then he's illogical.
Yeah, but he
just keeps it around.
But he is smart and intelligent and is able to communicate really well, and still remembers all of his doctor stuff, or all the stuff he can do as a doctor, and it's a character that makes absolutely no sense based on what the writers put him in there for. So he's going to be alone for 15 years and yet still be a perfectly social person. Like no social quirks whatsoever after 15 years in total isolation. So yes, a lot of mistakes here. The more I think about it, so another post on here from Kaida over at X is the more I think about 28 years later, the more I dislike it. That's actually been my exact same scenario. It's like we got out of the theater, we were talking about it a bit. I wanted the points you brought up for liking it. The cinematography is good. The acting's decent. The decisions and script are awful. Now the other one reference in here you're gonna probably not get right away without seeing the movie is
context.
Yeah, so AKA J Long B1 over on X. 28 years later so far. You watch this movie and this will make perfect sense. So the GIF, that's a penis. Yeah,
There's a lot of dick in this.
there's a ton of dick.
Miles and miles of dick.
There is a metric shitload of dick.
And
just
they
on
actually
screen.
make it a point to pan down in some shots.
They
I was
do.
like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
They made an absolute effort. Now, okay, creative choice. I didn't care for it, but your zombies after 28 years, 25 years are not going to have clothes.
Right.
You can't really avoid that, matter of fact.
But you don't have to go to dick shots.
You don't.
Wide shots, fine. Yeah, it's gonna get in the shot.
And why are they all perfectly shaved? Why not? Why do I know that? No, I'm just
Why do I know that zombies manscape?
that this movie spot to you by Manscaped. So we did have a bunch of this nonsense that we were seeing though. So Jones Vibes, 28 years later, was well worth the wait. As a standalone, it's incredible, but when you add the history of the Rage virus and everything that makes this franchise so unique, it becomes something truly special. Danny Boyle shows just how much he's involved as a filmmaker while reminding us how much these damn zombies have evolved too. This might be one of my favorite of the three, and that's saying a lot because I freaking love the first one. What a return. Let me throw this out there. Those are contradictory points to hold. You can't love the first and love the third as if they are congruent with each other or a part of the same franchise. The third one contradicts the first one so much that it's a better argument that they have nothing to do with each other and not at all related than that they have any relation to each other whatsoever. It's an entirely different zombie franchise at this point. They have no correlation whatsoever. You cannot make this argument that you love both simultaneously unless you are just like fanboying out of your freaking mind and lying.
Yeah, one of my biggest disappointments is that it's a Danny Boyle movie, because Danny Boyle makes a lot of good stuff. One of my favorite movies is Sunshine. Remember that where they have to go restart the sun?
Yep.
Great fucking movie. And this is just like all the directors that made good movies back in the day. It's like once they're getting older, they just turn to shit.
Yeah, we got Ridley Scott, who bombed with
everything lately.
Well, Gladiator 2 and Napoleon. Both were just epic disappointments. Guys, you're gonna see a fair amount of this on the internet.
It's oddly divisive.
It is. And now it's time. I think we should go over to reviews. Let's look at IMDb's score first, not because we're going to use them as a reference, but specifically because we're not, at 7.2 out of 10. Then we go over to Rotten Tomatoes, and we have a critic score of 90, audience score of 66.
They just like it because all that dick.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Okay, what could they possibly be referencing to? The acting was good. The cinematography was well directed. Now, if you're looking at this in any way critically regarding the continuity between 1, 2, and 3, it fails at an absolute 0. There's nearly no consistency between the two between the two parts of the franchise whatsoever. And they have to release statements about like what happened in Paris. They have to completely change how the virus and how these zombies behave or work, or whether or not they are bringing in new ones. And the idea that the zombies evolve, if they're dead, they're not evolving. Like, you can't be dead and evolve simultaneously.
Well, are they dead?
Well, this is another question.
They're all just infected by the virus, so they eventually do starve out like they did in 28 weeks, because they're not technically zombies. They're just raged out people.
Well, they're getting no nutrients. There's no way the body can survive based on what they're doing.
Right.
So then you have, like, fat ones right now. So
the crawlers are fat. Why are all the crawlers fat?
Well,
they're eating worms and stuff.
They're eating worms, but they're not even rage-filled. They're not even enraged. They're just kind of crawly. They're just kind of curious.
They're more zombies than anything else.
Yeah, they're not engaged at all. Then you have the alphas, which are... That's absurd. That's
bros.
Well, it's absurd. And there's so many of them, or apparently there's enough of them that they're really consistently showing up. And that you...
Yeah, how are they jacked out of their gourds?
Well, so if you're going to have out of the course of showing us 30 zombies, right? Like, I think 30 zombies is about fair for what they've showed us on screen, maybe 40.
Sure.
And 4 of them are alphas. So you got 1 in 10 out of them being alphas. Why aren't 20 of those alphas? Why aren't 30 alphas? Why isn't more than 1 out of 10 an alpha? Like it's apparently
Why do they have magical powers?
why are they magic? None of this doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any goddamn
But
sense.
goddamn, it looks good.
Yeah. Why is Chewbacca on Endor?
Yeah.
He's from
It's like when they're running from that first alpha and he sends the crows after him.
Yeah.
Like an amazing shot of them running across the causeway.
It's visually-
I love how dark it is and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then there's no light pollution, so you get a good shot of the sky. And it's like, fuck, that's gorgeous.
It did
Too
look-
bad this movie sucks.
It looked good, but that was so unnecessary. And this is where one of the arguments we brought up earlier comes into play, because the movie has something there. At the core, there is a good coming of age story where you could say a boy trying to escape home to save his mom. The issues you have are like there is no doctor. That would make sense. You can't do that after 28 years. This doctor is going to be so insane. He's just going to kill you on sight, or he's going to have booby
Well,
traps
there's
set up.
nothing he can do anyways.
Yeah, there's no medical there's nothing they could do. I don't know why it's a secret that she's sick, or why they're like keeping it from the kid that she's not going to get better. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like there's no benefit to hiding
Oh,
that.
that's right. She does mention, oh, we should have told you. Blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Someone should have told
How
him.
is it a secret? He should know. It's like, yeah, she's not doing great.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's absolutely a lot of stuff in this that makes absolutely zero sense, and it takes away from what could be good, because it's not the core elements of the movie that are bad. It's all of these things on top of it, all these sprinkled add-ons. You have the birds with the alpha. We keep referencing back to it because it's one of the most egregious. You had basically an alpha using magic. That entire scene is infinitely better minus the birds. Do the exact same thing without the birds.
Birds.
Then it's an epic scene. Then it's awesome in every context, and it's not ruined by something so trivial and stupid. Then you have like the epilogue and the ending with the Power Rangers showing up, and it's just stupid. It doesn't belong there. It doesn't make any sense. Why are their clothes so clean and shiny and vibrant after 28 years?
Yeah, and the kid just like leaves home. I guess he's just gonna adjourn. Like, I think he says like, "Oh, I'm just gonna keep walking till I can't see the ocean."
Yeah,
It's like that's your goal. I hate you.
yeah, exactly. Like what a stupid writer's journey kind of nonsense
Like,
that
just
is.
walk over that hill, then you can't see the fucking ocean.
Well,
Twat.
you could give your characters. So you could have done smarter things with how to advance the plot and how to keep the story going. You could have done infinitely better things with how you were going to have the creatures behave. The worst affront. Do we even talk about the baby?
I forgot about the fucking baby.
Oh my god. Okay, so we got to talk about the baby. Okay, because this actually, like, we were conspiring in the car about what this. We were like bringing up conspiracy theories about what this baby fucking was. Okay.
I bet it's gonna be a cure.
Oh my. Well, we already had that in 28 weeks later. It had to do with
That one kid, yeah.
No, in 28 weeks later, it has to do with the mom who survives the zombie apocalypse because she's infected. She's
infected, but it doesn't affect her.
Because she has the multicolored eyes. She has like there's a term for it. Comment what the term basically your eye
Right, I know
are
what you're
different
talking-
colors.
Yeah.
I know the word too, which is frustrating, but we won't get locked down on it. In 28 years later, the characters are traveling, trying to go find the doctor. They stumble across a pregnant, like zombie walker, runner, whatever it was.
Whatever you want to call him.
And it gives birth.
Well, the mom is like almost assisting in the birth. Like they're holding hands and whatnot. And then, which is a widely dumb decision. There's a Swedish army dude that's in this for like a little bit.
Yep.
And he's like, he hasn't been around the zombies or anything. He's like, hey, you're being really fucking stupid right now.
Yeah. He's just like, yes, this is dumb.
He was the only good character.
I think so. The way they run that scene with the zombie giving birth, it's not your first shot of seeing her. So apparently she's just in a creek, and all the women zombies are in this one creek, and I guess they're kind of washing / not washing / just standing there and doing nothing. But she is very, very pregnant, this zombie. And then you fast forward, come up to where they come upon her, and she's having the baby. The mom helps deliver the baby, and then immediately she turns back into the rage monster.
Yeah.
So she's not really enraged or attacking while giving birth.
It's hard to focus on two things at once when you're giving birth.
Yeah, true. It's hard to be mad. No woman's ever mad when giving birth.
No one's ever been rageful.
No
when
woman.
they're giving birth.
No woman's ever been like, take my hand and yell at me. So yes. So the baby is born no infection whatsoever, and it's just the magic.
Oh yeah, the magic of the placenta.
The magic of the placenta. So here's where
I like how we just like, all right, that's the doctor's theory, and it's just we're going with that.
Here's why this is pissing off Cody and I so much, is because there's absolutely no reference to this happening whatsoever in the universe, and it makes no fucking sense. Your theory was that she was pregnant and then bit, and so she became infected.
That is my theory, but it could just be the alphas fucking.
I think my theory is that the alphas are getting it on with the female zombies. That's what I think. I think that is a naturally born zombie baby. I think that's the first zombie baby.
It would be a zombie.
Well, yes, yes. All the DNA of both the mom and the dad are both like, you have it. It's dormant in you. It's your DNA. Like, viruses live in your DNA. Like that, they fuck that shit up. It's not good.
I don't like it.
They got hepatitis and zombie rage
I
virus.
don't want to talk about it anymore.
Dude, the zombie baby thing was honestly ridiculous. It had no business being in there. It's one of those, another example of the movie's better without it. You didn't need it at all. And you didn't need to throw it in there, and it doesn't do anything to progress the plot. And honestly, it stands in direct contradiction of my zombie apocalypse plan, like my individual plan for the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah. Go find some fucking cliffs and literally just build a stick with a bell on it and just ring that shit and just have all the zombies just keep running off the cliff perpetually and maybe count the bodies. But you need to just be purging these zombies, dude. You can't just let hordes of zombies exist.
If they want,
it's what they kept doing.
It's like they wanted to do like a zombie, what's the word for it? Road trip kind of movie.
Yeah.
There's tons of better ways to do it.
Yeah. What was it? Was it Zombie Land that was that? Or what's the one with Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah, Zombieland.
Yeah, that one's better.
Yeah.
That was actually much better. I wasn't even prepared to like make that point in whole, but yes, much better. We should look at some of the audience reviews just to cover some of that, just to get that taken care of. Let's go to reviews, audience scores. All right, guys, brace yourselves. This is going to be a bit rough. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Okay. All right. So for the audience scores, we've got from No Name, was epic in scope, very successful at times, and had a good story at its center. Enjoyed it. I loved all the qualifiers he put that in there and gave it a 5 out of 5. Perfect movie.
Perfect movie.
Perfect movie, dumbass. All right, some Spanish shit. All right, we got someone maybe here with some common sense. Let's take a look at it. We got a 1-star review from Chris S. This movie was truly god-awful. The storyline was all over the place, lacked cohesiveness, and was just plain dumb. How you go from 28 days later to 28 weeks later to this drivel is beyond me. Shout out to to Studio Movie Grill for wonderful the wonderful entries. That was all I enjoyed about this movie experience. I don't get that reference.
I don't either.
Dumbass.
Another thing that doesn't even have to do with the movie, speaking of just that, whatever that was, is that this movie had the most trailers before it that I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
I checked my phone. We were sitting in there for a half hour before the beginning credits started.
Right.
That will already piss me off.
you were in it from the start for this to be bad. Oh, this guy is so David is a verified 5-star review. All right, I'm a huge fan of both 28 Days Later and 28 Months Later. Instant L. You know why?
Because there is no 28 months later.
This guy's a fucking idiot. So
huge fan.
You know what? Maybe grammatical error. Maybe your Chat GPT autofill failed when you were trying to say write a 5-star review for this movie.
Right.
That I'm not going to go see. But whatever. You know what? Good faith. Maybe he just misspoke. 28 weeks later, we'll say. So I was eagerly awaiting 28 years later, and it absolutely delivered. These visuals were stunning. True. The story was compelling. No, it fucking wasn't. At best, you could say it was very vanilla. At best, you could say it was a very typical, not overdone story, but you cannot say it's compelling. The action was tight and intense. That I agree with too. I agree with that. I thought the action shots were actually pretty.
When the editing wasn't chopped shit, but yeah.
What really struck me, though, was how the film stands on its own. Then you're not a fan of both. You can't say, I'm such a huge fan of these two movies, and I'm so excited for a continuation of that story, and then say, oh, but it is standalone. It's not has anything to do with it. It's perfect.
People don't make sense.
These guys are fucking retarded. All right, it's a heart... at its heart, it's a beautiful, emotional story about a boy trying to protect his mother in a small, struggling society. Oof. His determination to get out and find help brought real heart to the film. There were several moments that had me on the edge of my seat, and the world they built was hauntingly gorgeous, filled with atmosphere, detail, and exceptional camera work. I honestly think that's the only thing this guy actually liked about the movie. Just the visuals, and I think he's just giving it a 5 out of 5 for the visuals. I'll finish, but it wasn't just a sequel. It wasn't a sequel. It was a fresh, bold chapter that deepened the saga while exploring something truly personal and human. No, it didn't. I walked away feeling like I had experienced something both thrilling and emotionally resonant. Really? Emotionally resonant, huh?
Yeah, good for you, man.
That was a giant fucking sentence.
I agree more with Eric that gave it a half star. He said, I need my money back.
Yes, Eric also verified, I need my money back. Another verified half star. If you had one... Okay, hold on. This one... Oh my god, we're not going to read the whole thing, but let me just see if I can get some of the main points out of this one. If you had one ultimate punishment for Hitler, it would be to watch this eye torture. This might be the worst thing I ever witnessed. You couldn't pay me enough money in the entire world to rewatch it. Apparently, the second you become infected, your clothes come off and the camera gets 120 frames per second, 144 hertz shot of it swinging in my face.
Right.
Why was the mom hyped up to being this clairvoyant chosen one and then just dying at the end because of brain cancer? Why introduce military if all they do is kill a couple zombies and immediately die? Following that, if other countries have military, why is the entire island still overrun with zombies? And why did this fact feel so thrown in there with again no real point of being made other than, oh yeah, the whole world is good, by the way.
Yeah, it's so weird.
This guy has like a really solid, like really well concise take. We should talk to this guy. We're bad at this. He's great. There was genuinely not a single scene that felt like it had a coherent thought. The Doctor was my last hope for any sort of potential plot point, as he was made out to be come insane, or to be some insane arsonist. Yet he was just some dude who cremated the dead, who knew how to put zombies to sleep and diagnosed the mother with brain cancer, then almost immediately telling the kid Spike to leave with the baby of an infected. Speaking of, why have an infected give birth? Why have the mom appear to have some motherly connection to the pregnant infected, all for both the mother to ultimately be killed and arguably no plot point to be to the infected child? Honestly, solid.
Yep, that's the movie.
That is a great take. That is a good summary of the entirety of the film. Yeah, guys, that. All right, we are going to wrap up there. There's no article to reference back to, but guys, I would strongly recommend saving your money, but do your due diligence before checking it out if you
Just watch
choose.
the trailer for 2 hours straight and you'll have a better experience. Well, they had a really good trailer.
Well, if you wanted to go in assuming that this movie is completely detached from the original two, maybe you'd have a slightly better experience. But if you are going in there with some hope that this is a continuation, you're going to be utterly disappointed unless you're some shill or some... you would have to be absolutely moronic to think this is a good movie. And I'm saying that if you are in the comments, let us know if you're wrong, or let us know that you are wrong by telling us we're wrong. But
you won't get any blowback from telling someone if they like something they're stupid.
Yeah, guys, my honest, true, genuine opinion of you as an individual is that you are a fucking retard if you think this movie is anything other than dog shit. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Third Party Podcast. We hope you guys did enjoy the topics. If you did, comment below what your favorite topic we covered was, and if there's any topics you'd like us to cover more in the future. Make sure to share the stream out there. Come join us next Saturday at 11 a.m. for our 100th episode of the Third Party Podcast. We don't know exactly what we're going to be doing for it yet, but we'll come up with something fun. We'll do something creative and clever, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do something fun. But thank you guys again. We're going to wrap it up there. Smash the like button on your way out the door, and don't forget, go tell your stories. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Bye.
Tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life.